Try to.
What in God's name is going on in here? What was that ruckus?
What ruckus?
I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.
Could you describe the ruckus, sir?
You're now listening to Music Impulse with Smilez.
All right, y'all, it's your boy Smilez, and we back for another episode of the Music Impulse. On this episode, we doing another soundtrack to life. Had to bring my guy Kaz on for this episode.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, we had great feedback from the J. Will episode, and then I did my girl DJ Soul, but me and you been planning this one also for a while. I was like,
yeah,
again, because
when I first heard about the idea, nigga, I was excited.
Oh yeah,
I was excited. So I'm hyped to be here.
Oh yeah, and then looking at your choices, I was like, okay. I was like, I'm intrigued because anybody that knows you knows you have like an eclectic taste and everything.
Yeah,
so,
a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So, and actually, as of today, because I was trying to think, like, I'm like, which one do I want to start with? Like, do I want to go with the ones I knew first, or do I want to start with like the ones I never heard? So, after listening to all three of them, I decided to go with the ones I never heard first. And because this is gonna be fun, because I wouldn't be surprised if even Jay will get up to try to say something about this one. So I wanted to start with Sade Promise.
Hey,
because I know people love Sade, but
yes.
I had never heard a Sade album until today.
What, nigga?
Yeah, that's
say, bro. Sade is so it's so integral to my life that's unbelievable. But I could see why, because Sade is a unique type of artist. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely not she existed. She's created, like, she had multiple classics in the 80s, dropped one fucking album in the 90s. That was classic as shit. And then she pops up randomly in the 2000s. So she makes music when she feels like it for an audience that has kind of sustained forever.
Yep.
You know, I heard Sade since I was a baby, but that love of her has sustained forever. If she came to town today, I'm digging out my 401k.
Yeah, because I was like, I had never really heard of it until Soldier of Love.
What? That's crazy. Nigga, you blowing my mind right now.
That's why I was like, I'm gonna start with the Sade Promise album. But after listening, I was like, oh, I have to start with this one. I was like, because this is a great album. I've already told myself I'm gonna wake up and listen to this album again tomorrow.
It's so dope.
I was like, this is a great album. I was like, I love this album.
It's dope. And what's funny about Promise is not even, if you went through Sade's top like albums and you ranked them in order, Promise wouldn't be in the top 3 for most people.
Wow.
That's what's so crazy about it. A lot of people know Lovers Deluxe, Lovers Rock. There's particular Diamond Life. And then you would get to like Promise. But Promise stuck out to me because I just remember it was one of the first album covers from Sade I'd ever seen. So that blue and that, it stood out to me. And I'm like it's weird. I'm a design freak. So like, I look at album cover. The album cover, that's when the album starts for me.
Yeah.
So seeing the album cover, I immediately fell in love with her ass. I like, it was just something about her. And when I heard the music sounded like she looked. And it just, I was sold since then.
Yeah, because listen to the album, I was like, I knew 2 of the songs, which were the
Which
singles.
should you know?
The Is It a Crime
Of
and
course.
The Sweetest Taboo.
Of course.
I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I know these 2 songs.
Yep, those are really the ones that everybody, even people who are not Sade fans, would know. Yeah, those are huge records from her.
But actually, I'm gonna start off actually with some of my standouts from the album, just because I want to do that. So I said, yeah, Sweetest Taboo and Is It a Crime, just because those are the singles. I knew those
For sure.
War of the Hearts. I ain't gonna lie.
My God, I love that joint.
Because y'all know like my whole situation with it, with my ex, and I ain't gonna lie. So that had me thinking about that. I was like, damn, that got me thinking about her right now.
It'll say, Sade will put you in that mood, dude.
That's why I was like, this is why I need to start with this. I was like, she got me thinking about the ex. I was like, but then I like Jezebel, and then Punch Drunk. I was like, even though there's no words, I was like, this fits this album. I was like, just the sound of like, it's just an instrumental, but it's just the sound of it fits the album.
It's really, when you think about it, when people think of jazz, you think of wordless music. You think of instrumentation. Sade is jazz, but it's words. And so when you do get to those records that are purely jazz, even with Steely Dan, that happens on some of their albums where it's like, oh, we just gonna let this record play. It makes sense because they so rooted in jazz culture. When you hear a song with no words, you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. I get it.
Because I literally was sitting there like, damn, I can imagine the words that she could be singing to this song. And I'm like, but it's still amazing, even though it's just an instrumental. For sure. So I was like, I definitely wanted to say that those are like my and Tar Baby. I was like, I like the whole messaging of Tar Baby, because I was reading the credits on Genius about how it's supposed to be part of like a series. I was like, oh, I need to go back and like figure out listen to these songs for the series. I'm like, okay. Yeah, she has these songs that tie in together. I mean, she has these like crazy threads, because Sade will make music that sounds luxurious. It sounds like, to me, it always felt upscale and luxurious. But she has records like she has Immigrant Song. She has How Will I Find a Job? I forgot the name of it. It's like How Will I Find a Job or How Will I Find Work? These songs that represent working class struggle, immigrant struggle, and it still has a level of luxury to it. Like it still feels like, oh my God, it's beautiful, but it's not beautiful. You know, like the messaging might not be beautiful, but the song still sounds beautiful. Jezebel is like that to me. You know, it's a record where the messaging is dark, but man, these instruments and her vocals being so smoky, it's something beautiful about it. Yeah, that's what I was like. I was like, damn. Like, and also, I was gonna say, I didn't know she was part of a group. I was like, oh, Sade is technically a group. I was like, yep. Her real name is Helen. It's Helen Sade, dude. Yeah. But when I told my girl this morning too, which is funny, I revealed that to her, and she was like, what? I was like, yeah, the group, technically, when you buy a Sade album, you're talking about the band. Yeah, because when I looked up, it was like, yeah, Promised by the group Sade. I was like, hold on, wait, did I click on the right thing? It's so crazy. And I was like, oh no, she's the lead singer, and then everybody else did the instrumentation. I was like, okay. I was like, I never knew Sade was actually. It's insane. Also, I wanted to highlight a quote that I found that she mentioned about. She was speaking about music in a 1985 Rolling Stone article. She said, speaking about music, she said, "It should take you somewhere and move you in some way, and that's what I want our songs to do." And I think she succeeded on every album, because one thing about Sade is I hate this word is overused, but she truly is a vibe. It's an essence. I always tell people, and I don't even know if it makes sense. I always tell people, Sade records feel how I want my life to feel. Like if I could choose my lifestyle and my like if I could go in my mind and literally pick any type of life, I want it to feel like these records, because these records got a certain luxury to them. They have a certain level of love to them, a certain level of like sultriness to them. Even when you watch the videos for these, there's a graininess and it's kind of like cool, luxurious thing about it. It almost feels like music that a spy would listen to. Yeah. You know, like, and I don't know, I've always dug that. And then also I was thinking about how, even though it was like made in London, I was like, this feels like this belongs like she was making it on an island or something. It does. It does. Like, you did this in London. I think about dreary and rainy, and it's like, this sounds like just beautiful music weather. It does. Like, she made it like I was on vacation on the islands making this. It's international music. Yes. It is. I love it because it feels, after you listen to a Sade album, you feel well traveled. Yes. Even if you ain't went nowhere. Before I ever traveled, before I ever left the country, literally Sade's music took me somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I think that quote, literally, she succeeded. Mm-hmm. She succeeded. Yeah, so I saw, again, do a little back history. It was the second album that they released, November 4th, 1985, primarily recorded at Power Plant Studios in London. the title referred to a letter that she got from her father at the time about his promise of hope to recover from cancer at the time. And I was like, oh, that's deep.
I did not know that.
Yep. And of course, like I said, she released 3 singles off the album: "Sweetest Taboo," "Is It a Crime," and "Never As Good as the First Time."
Never as good.
Spent 2 weeks at #1 on the Billboard chart. The next album to do that was "Soldier of Love," which was 23 years later. And then, as of at least 1997, the album is certified quadruple platinum.
Come on, speak. My girl don't have to do no work, and niggas are gonna go. She's built a fan base to where she has to do no work and will support. And she's influenced a lot of, artists that are. Drake is heavily influenced by Sade. Rick Ross is heavily influenced by Sade. And I would argue that you can hear in Ross's music that love of luxury. He took the luxury part of the thing. The way he describes things, which is why he's one of my favorite artists. It's something about that, just that black luxurious feel. Like the album feels like silk. You know what I mean? I love that about the album.
Yeah, because again, listen to it and I was like, damn, I don't know how, like, so many people have always just talked about it. I just never just took the time to
Your life has changed.
Yeah, that's what I said. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up like, all right, let's put this.
And wait until you hear shit like Diamond. Like I know those are going to change your life.
Yes, I can't wait. Because I was like, okay, let me finally dive deep. I was like, I already know on Tidal, they're going to be like, your #1 album for the month of June is going to be
dog. It's different.
You gave her 192 streams.
I be doing that. I go through modes where I'm literally listening to the same shit over and over because you just like, man, this feeling, I gotta have that. So I have my Sade months, like where it's months where I'm playing particular albums from it. And it just so happens that Promise is the one that most it really brought me in the game. That's why it's so important to me, because it really brought me into Sade. And Is It a Crime is just such a when you hear that record, you know, like, oh my God. Yeah, that shit's crazy.
Yeah, that's what. So yeah, let's get to it. So when do you remember first listening to this album?
Oh, I was young as hell. This album, I couldn't give you an exact date, but I could tell you I was in single digits. Okay. Like I wasn't 10 yet listening to this album. This is one of those records that my mom will put on, and she put it on for a couple records, of course, like Is It a Crime? Or she was big into the radio records. And when I got old enough, I started really delving into beyond the records that my mom listened to. Let me go into this full album. So it probably was double digits before I listened to the full album with a certain intensity. But I heard records from this album. Hell, I was young. I was definitely single digits. This is like, I probably was hearing this in 1989. I'm born in 86. I probably heard this at 4.
Yeah, like a year after.
5 years. I was young as hell.
That's dope. What are your standout tracks from that's like you have like any go-tos, or it's just like you just put the album on, you just
my go-tos for sure Is It a Crime? I mean, just that when she gets to talking about her love and comparing it to things, Victoria Lace and Taller Than the Empire State, those are visuals that I'm like, oh my God. I couldn't imagine, especially listening to it at that time, like, what the fuck is she even talking about? I know it sounds like massive, but what does that mean? And now being a grown man, that record really stands out because like it just feels it literally, that record fills up a room. You play that bitch, I'm finna sit quiet and just absorb what she's saying on that record. My favorite record on the entire album is You're Not the Man. Because You're Not the Man is like, I'm just now in my first like real relationship where I'm trying. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm actually putting forth an effort. And one of the illest things about when you're in a relationship is when you're trying, the fear of failing, the fear of not being everything that you like, you promise to be. Because it's essentially when you get in a relationship, you asking a lot of us ask for stuff from our partners, but we don't recognize that we also sign a contract that we gonna be this. I'm gonna pull up for you. I'm gonna always be here for this. You're Not the Man is the record. Literally, it's your girl. I think it's probably every man who's actually masculine's worst fear. You done tried your ass off, but your girl is like, you not the one. You're not him. The nigga who said he would, like the most powerful part of the song is when she says, you're not the man. And then she goes, who would bleed for me? that shit stuck with me because it's like, that is the promise as men that like, if somebody breaks into your girl's house, you diving in front of the bullet. Yep. If if y'all are in some type of trouble, you lay down your life for this person because this is the mother of your children. This is that's what happens. You protect the queen, and this song is a failure of that, and it's the woman saying that. So this is always, that record really stuck out to me, like, because it's like, oh, this is sad and a bitch.
Yeah, that actually reminded one of my homies talking about, well, it's a girl now, but they had broke up for a little spell, and I remember him telling me about when they first broke up, how it just affected him. I was like, what? I was like, the stuff you did in college. He was like, that's what shocked me, bro. He's like, when she broke with me, he like, because he was really trying. He was like, I was like, yo, I'm not in college no more. I'm really gonna put some effort into this relationship. Mm-hmm. He was like, and then she cheated on me, and he was like, that shit rocked me.
Yeah, that'll shatter you if you. Because men know, at least I can say I definitely know, we know when we trying. Mm-hmm. We know when we putting forth an effort. We know when the effort is coming from a good place. Because you can try, but you're trying to get ass. You're trying to get a trophy wife. You're trying for a selfish reason. When you actually try selfishly, like I would literally die for you, and it still doesn't work. To hear that back, to hear you not enough, I know that would be heartbreaking. I've never been through that. But I know that would be heartbreaking. And that song just every time I heard it, I'm like, oh man, whoever this nigga is, getting this information is gotta be heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. Like I got another homie when, well, he ain't gonna listen to my roommate. he like, I can't do podcasts. I can't listen to people just talk.
Well, we about to talk about you, nigga.
But his ex, when he broke up with his ex and she started dating somebody, he was like, damn, he's like, that's rough. When she moved on, and she was like, dog, yeah, like this new dude is everything that you weren't.
Man, when your girl chooses another nigga, that's literally, you're not the man. That's hard to hear. And it is specifically when you trying. Mm-hmm. Because if you ain't trying, you really, niggas can put up posture and shit, but niggas know when they not trying. Like, man, I wasn't doing my best to be. Yeah, because he said it years later, it took me a while to finally realize, yeah, I know I wasn't doing her right. And now I'm kind of sorry that she's onto a better relationship. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, I'm happy in this new relationship, and there's no way you're getting me back. Dude, that's why that particular song just has a vibe. It's one of it's in my top 5 favorite Sade songs. Because when I go to Sade, I am listening for a feeling, a vibe. Sometimes I want to get sad from Sade. Sometimes I want to get happy. She controls my emotions to that degree where sometimes when I want to feel something, I can play it and it'll take me right there. And that song is one of them songs I listen to and be just like, oh, shit fucking terrible. I be feel like I just got broke up with. Nothing's happening. I'm listening to Sade like, damn, I'm not the man.
Why I do that?
That one definitely is one of my favorites. And just never as good as the first time, because it's a record that a lot of times does ring true that the thing is never as good as when you initially get it. Anything, the first time you listen to an album, you can't get it back. The first time you make love to a girl, you don't get that vibe again. But I'm the counterbalance to that idea, because I found, we talk about it a lot, when we talk about anything art. When you watch The Wire the first time, it was really, really great. When you watch The Wire the second time, it's greater. Yeah. Third time, greater, because you keep noticing things. And to me, the thing about film, about any art, and I put love is an art. So love, art, music, film, when you craft certain things, when they really align with God, they get better with time. They actually are as good as the first time. Imagine they're you ever been with a girl and first time y'all fucked, it was dope. That's why you stuck with her. But then let's say y'all have some crazy argument and y'all fuck because the argument y'all both found it was silly. Y'all thought this was the goofiest shit in the world, and now you fucking to make up for it. that's oftentimes better than the first time. Yeah. So I like this Sade record because I do get the sentiment that it's like never as good as the first time, but I've also found it to be false. I think the best shit about it is when you listen to the Sade record and you go, yeah, she's right. It's never as good as the first time. It's never. But the better part is when you realize, yeah, Sade just didn't know at that point.
Yeah.
You know, so like she was young. She didn't know. But it's a beautiful record to me.
Oh, yeah. And then, again, like you said, that's good the first time I listen to like other albums. I love listening to an album like, oh, I didn't catch this the first time. This is so amazing.
And the irony is, never as good as the first time. The actual song gets better with multiple listens. So the song actually disproves itself to some degree.
Yeah. Let's see what else did I want to talk about with this album. I just wanted to highlight. What would you say is like your top 3 Sade albums personally?
Top 3 Sade albums personally. Promise. I'm gonna put Promise at number 2. Lovers Rock, which is a more modern one, but God, I love See Me Flowing and King of Sorrow. So I would say Lovers Rock is my number 1.
Okay.
It's not the number 1. Like, I wouldn't have this same argument if we were talking to the world, to Sade aficionados. But for me personally, I would go Lovers Rock, I would go Promise, and then I'm gonna go Lovers Deluxe.
Okay.
Lovers Rock is way more modern, but man, it's just something about, she's wiser on that album. You know, she's older. Lovers Rock is 2000s. She's wiser. Or is it Lovers Rock might be 90s, 2000s. I think, no, it's 2000s. Early 2000s. And it's just, you can hear the wisdom in the records. Because when I listen to King of Sorrow, that hoe hits different. Totally different. Before you listen to that album, listen to King of Sorrow and have your mind blown.
Okay. Yeah, okay, it says Love Deluxe came out 1992, Lovers Rock 2000. Yep.
That's right. I always be on the, because it's on the cusp. I'll be like, is that 1998, 99, or 2000?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out and add that too. Add that right now as I'm talking.
Yeah, I ain't going to lie. Lovers Rock is it's going to blow your mind. That shit sounds like, you want to talk about traveled. You listen to that, you're going to feel like you took a trip around the world. It's different.
Okay. Can't wait. Let's see. Anything else you want to talk about in terms of like that album that you want to highlight, or about Sade in general that you want to let the folks know?
Sade in general, Sade in general, I would like to tell people is like, she is, to me, I think if you really, really want to, like, when people come to me, they always be like, you know, I know you cultured, I know you eclectic, you blah, blah, blah. Sit and listen to a Sade album and let that be the beginning to your trip. Like, if you desire to be eclectic, let Sade be the beginning of that trip. Because one thing I've learned is all music, and this ain't every music fan, some people are casual. They literally use music just as kind of the soundtrack to the background of their lives. And there's nothing, I'm not saying that to dismiss them, because music is defined by what you want to use it for. Some niggas only use it in the gym. Some people listen to podcasts all day and don't even listen to music unless it's in the background of a film but niggas like me who use music to cultivate a feeling, to cultivate a vibe, to you internally need something from yourself that you can't produce, so you need a record to help pull that out of you. People who collect music like Pokemon, who literally are looking for rare finds and want to expand their ear and expand their mind artistically, I think Sade is the perfect start. I think find your Sade record and sit patiently with it, because this ain't a jam session. It's not like you listen to this and immediately, you know, man, I just look. Some niggas will fall asleep to this shit. But it's because their minds they're very like, they need the reward the moment they hear the record. The moment that bitch come on, they need to jam. And that's a lot of black people. But what I would say is, man, give some patient art a chance, because you're going to find there's so many black artists, so many incredible, even non-black artists, but just talking to black people, a lot of black artists that if you give them a shot, they'll send you to a different world. You might look at art differently. You might be, because I think that's one of the things, we got to come out of this space where it's just all about jamming. It's all about the vibe. No, music can really change you as a person. And if you want to be changed, I would say start with Sade.
Okay. Oops. Dropping bars out here.
Jams, sprinkling little jams on
right.
niggas.
All right. So the next one we're gonna go to is Steely Dan.
Oh my God.
With Asia, because I'd always heard of them. But I didn't know who Steely Dan was. I'm like, okay, I've heard of them before, but I don't know.
Shouts out to my mom for this. She put me on Steely Dan.
So yeah, let's start a little history. Like, how'd you get? Yeah, you said your mom Steely Dan.
Man, my mom would play records, mostly off the Asia album. Mm-hmm. She would play like Black Cow a lot. And
that's the only song I knew.
Dude, me and my cousin would sit in the back of the car and just fucking laugh because we're like, man, what the fuck are they even talking about? And then he said, it's just the way that he says stuff, like, in the corner of my eye. We like, I saw you and Otis, you were very high. We like, what the fuck does any of this even mean? It just sounds like shit slapped together. But my mom was in it. Like, she was a Steely Dan head. And me and my cousins, we started by making fun of it. And as we got older, we started listening to this shit on our own. Like, we would play the records when our mom's not around. Mm-hmm. So, Steely Dan secretly got snuck up on me. My mama planted the seed, and it grew, and as teens, we started really going, damn, these niggas are different. And once we listen to, I've listened to more albums than this, but Asia is to me, it is it's the Thriller of Steely Dan albums.
Yeah, that's how I learned. They said it was their most commercially successful album because of the singles Peg, Deacon Blues, and Josie. They won one Grammy off of it, but they were nominated for 3, which one of those that they were nominated for included Album of the Year. So I was like, okay. And then let's see. In 2010, the album was recognized by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or artistically significant, and it was selected for preservation in the National Recording Registry. They said also it was influential in the beginnings of the genre yacht rock.
And I'm a yacht rock head. That's my music. Like, that's one of my favorite genres. When you get into yacht rock it's what it sounds like. It's it's almost like this, like when you think of like Hall & Oates, some of their shit is yacht rock. When you think of Kenny Loggins, that's yacht rock. When you think of a lot of records that people have heard, they don't even know that it's yacht rock. Toto, who made Africa, it's yacht rock. It's a very it's what it sounds like. It's some shit you listen to when you get on a really big fucking boat. And kind of a thread between these niggas and Sade, a thread is there's an opulence to it. Now theirs is different because Sade's is classy and theirs is very tongue-in-cheek, nigga, you won't get it. Theirs is more arrogant. Sade's is designed to bring in people and we accept everybody. Steely Dan, the more you listen to them, the more you realize they're really two dickheads. Making lyrics more complex than need to be. Doing shit that they really don't give a fuck. And even the way their band is set up, they're technically not a band.
Yeah, because I saw that they've had like 40 different musicians, just from album to album.
They build it. So this is the crazy structure is that they go in, they create a song, and one thing that you'll notice about these records, they're very musically inclined. There's a lot of solos, some shit you don't see anymore. But what they would do is they would have a section and go, we need a guitar here. They would call 5 guitarists because there's really only 2 niggas in Steely Dan that are continuously there. Donald Fagen, and I always forget my man who passed his name. But these are the Elohims, the figureheads to the group. And what they do is when it comes time for particular strings, we're going to bring in 6 niggas who do strings. And we're going to let all of them play. And the one who does best, if anybody's great out of the 6, we're going to use them.
Walter Becker, yeah.
Walter Becker, that's right. Rest in peace, Walter Becker.
Yeah.
It's so easy to remember Donald Fagen because he had a solo career, and I followed him over there. But the great thing about it was that these niggas, they were all about the music. They didn't give a fuck. They were Kanye before Kanye.
Which I was going to say about that. When I saw him, I'm like, 7 songs? This is going to be quick. And then it was like 40 minutes.
Ain't playing no games. Dude, them solos be fucking. But when you listen, when you yet again, if you sit patiently with it, you notice these solos ain't no fucking joke. It's if you listen to these in the headphones, you got the sax over here, you got drums over here, and they are playing they fucking ass off. And a lot of it has to do with them being this kind of yacht rock, these college guys that like, you don't know music. You haven't heard the highest level, because that's really what they doing. They're shitting on niggas. They're like, you don't know what perfection sounds like. And that's what makes me like them, because their approach to music is very like, they're architects. You know, they're building a product. They don't give a fuck if you know them. For a long time, they didn't even perform live.
Yeah, I saw that too. That this is the first, even though it was their sixth album, but it was the first album where they had a manager.
Yeah, they didn't give a fuck.
They're like, we thought we were just gonna go through our whole career without having a manager. I was like, the fact that y'all made 6 albums without
just making music,
just making music.
And what's great about them is that, see, you run into people. There's this theory that everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be. That's the thought. Steely Dan directly proves that that's not true. These niggas made music and keep in mind, they were making hit records. If you go back to Kid Charlemagne, they had hit records. They got records that, shouts out Kanye again. Kanye sampled these shits for some of y'all favorite records. The catch is, they didn't give a fuck. They just really wanted to say, we are music aficionados. We know our shit. You don't. Look at this. And it made for some incredible music that doesn't, because Asia is an album, when you listen to it, it doesn't give a fuck whether you get it or not. From a lyrical standpoint, from a musical standpoint, the fact that the only time you have a voice like what's my boy? He sung background on Peg. He did Regulators. He did I Can't Forget. What's my guy?
I know you talking
Michael McDonald.
Yeah.
I started to go Michael Franks. That's my guy too. Michael McDonald is singing background. He's like, this nigga has one of the most powerful voices. So much so that he's a black figurehead as a blatant white man. He didn't hide himself. We like, this nigga's white as shit. Black people loved him. But with Steely Dan, just sing background.
Yep.
He's singing background.
I saw that they was in a group with Chevy Chase at one point.
Some wild shit. These niggas didn't give a fuck. And that's what I love about him. It's the rebellious nature of him. And like, when we go into songs, I'll kind of detail more about just their rebellious nature and how it fucks with it.
Started off with Black Cow. That was one of my stand-ups that I really liked from the project. Deacon Blues stood out to me. Home at Last, and overall just the album just being like a tale of a relationship. Which I was gonna say, I want to shout out for the Sade. I think that's because like I'm a lover type of guy. I'm like, yeah, both these albums are just about being in love. Like, yeah, they both had like, you know, just off random songs that didn't have nothing to do with nothing. But I was like, both these albums just great, and just a tale of just love and being in a relationship.
Who the fuck is Josie?
Yeah.
And why is it so important when she comes home? You know, like, what is Big Black Cow? What do you like? You have to. It's so much of it, and they going out their way to make it confusing and tongue in cheek. You know, like
if I didn't read the Genius lyrics to the phone,
bro, they Genius is crazy. They Genius is insane because it's designed to be. You know, they didn't know that it would be a genius. They wanted to confuse you. Like, there are people who go, man, what the fuck? Like, Steely Dan has a classic record called Dirty Work, and I've heard 1,000. Is Dirty Work about a dildo? Is Dirty Work about hitmen? What is Dirty Work about? And people will argue about it, and I think that's what makes it, going back to Never As Good As the First Time, I think Steely Dan's records, the further you get, the more you get it. Because as we talk about, like, you know, like a record like Deacon Blue. Deacon Blue is really every man who reaches about 40, 45 and does not meet his potential. And now he's going, yo, this is it. I'm finna go full blast and become the legend I know I was supposed to be. I'm finna go through the suburban streets and I'm taking over and I'm gonna die behind the wheel. No, this nigga is just a nigga daydreaming from his desk about how incredible he would be. And even like some of the tongue-in-cheek lyrics, like you know, they want this name like the Crimson Tide. They think that the Crimson Tide is a stupid, like they've said this, they think that's a stupid name. They think it's stupid that people even come up with these wild names for football teams and shit. So they put that in there. I want to come up with this outrageous name like Crimson Tide. They'll call me Deacon Blue. So it's tongue-in-cheek, but it's also that idea of just, your time has passed, brother.
Yeah.
It's over. You're not gonna become this fucking jazz legend. You know what I mean? I love that about their records. It's upbeat, but it's depressing content.
Yeah. I definitely peeped that too. I was like, this is amazing, but damn, they are dark.
They are very dark. Very dark. He say, and like even when he goes, he talks about creating the name, and then he goes, talks about getting drunk and driving and die behind the wheel. They got a name for the winners in the world, and I want a name when I lose. I love that because it's like, who the fuck thinks like that? He's going in saying, nigga, I know I'm not gonna succeed. I want to die this romantic jazz musician's death, nigga. Who says that? But I love that about him because it's the ultimate, like, fuck you to being famous and all this other bullshit. We making music and making fun of you niggas who want all this glory, and they would go on to get glory. That's what's odd about it.
Yeah, because I read like a little blurb about somebody like took like a bunch of their stuff and like redid them because he loved the whole jazz influence from like their stuff, and was like, this is like anti what they want to do.
Yeah. They literally like, fuck y'all, we don't need awards for being famous, and then win a Grammy, and then get money, and then become the figureheads of an entire sound. That shit's crazy to me. That's what I like about him though, because I relate to the concept of like accidental success. You know, being a complete idiot and stumbling into success anyways, or being somebody who tries to self-sabotage and still stumbling into success. I can relate to that because that's a lot of how things come about for me. You know, like doing the podcast. It's stumbling into some bullshit, breaking my leg. That's how the podcast got here. When it comes time, we were watching the movie Skin, and I'm in the car talking my shit, and somehow the director gets it. It's always been, I know that my success will not be, it won't be planned. It'll be me going against the grain. Man, fuck a Grammy. I don't want a Grammy. I don't want an Oscar. I don't want any of that. I don't give a fuck about that. And God's still going, here, go get your
Grammy.
You know, like I know that.
Guess what?
So,
you're not only nominated, but you won.
Yeah. So I understand Steely Dan's their adverse reaction to all that bullshit and still getting it, because that's been the story of my life.
I know you were saying like how your mom put you on. So is your mom really like the reason like you've tried like so many different genres?
Yeah,
and stuff
she wouldn't
like
allow me to just because my era, my mom was born in 1968, so logically a lot of black people from 1968, they were more eclectic, but they were eclectic in a very specific way. Like they listened to a lot of different music, but it was typically a lot of soul music. You know, it was a lot on that side. And they may have a few acts that were white and shit, but they were still soul artists. You know, Bobby Caldwell, Hall & Oates. These are still, even though they're white artists, they're still making soul music. My mama made sure like, yo, you gonna get eclectic music, but it can't just be soul. Mm-hmm. It's gotta be all around the board. It's gotta be Michael Franks. It's gotta be you know, just everything. I'm gonna introduce you to everything that I know. She didn't know nothing about classical. She didn't know anything about rock, but she knew about like soft rock. Okay. You know, she knew about R&B. She knew about random alternative records and pop records. And even when she went into soul, she would play me the shit that might not necessarily, you know, like she would randomly just pull up like Alexander O'Neal. You know, like it would be like just the most random soul records. So falling into what she put me on, even though I denied it initially, because I was like, this is white folks' music. Right. My mama listened to some white ass shit, you know.
I can't go around my niggas.
Yeah, I can't listen to this shit. Slowly but surely, yet again, planted the seed, and it grew. You know, because we this is what we listen to. My cousin, I could call him right now and be like, man, yo, you heard this Steely Dan such and such, and he gonna be like, nigga, that's the shit. You know, because we went backward. We were introduced to a Thrill and Asia and Pretzel Logic, but there's other shit in there that we didn't catch, and as adults we catching it. So it's definitely I gotta give my mom all the props on being eclectic, and I think it's because she didn't want me to be like a cliche black man. Yeah. So I think she knew music, food. This nigga we've gotta diversify him, so he not just on some nigga shit. You know, like I think that was her goal.
Yeah, cause that's what I'm saying. I definitely know that about you. It's like, yeah, you may think like Kaz is a nigga, but like once you talk to him, you're like, no, he knows a lot about a lot of shit about the world and all this.
It's because it's, you know, living around. That's something I always tell people. Living around niggas, being a smart nigga or being any type of, I don't want to say I'm smart, but being a smart nigga or being a different nigga or being a intuitive nigga, when you in areas where there's not that many of those type, because we can't show, as black men, typically when you young, you can't just show that. Unless you just born with brass balls and you come out acting like for real. Most of us don't. So you have to almost cultivate a nigga side of you to be around niggas and to play the game of like, yeah, shit, I don't know shit about that. I don't be reading, nigga. You know, and then you have to have this alter ego, this compartmentalized side of yourself that reads, that watches predominantly PBS, that go, niggas didn't know that I was failing in school. So I would fail in school, be a clown, do all this ridiculous shit, and then come home and watch PBS and watch a Ken Burns documentary on Jack Johnson. I would fail English, come home and read 1984 and like look at the brilliance of George Orwell. Yeah. But I just didn't want to do the paper. I didn't want somebody telling me to read shit, you know? Yeah,
like one of my homies, Lo, you know, an Audible Ruckus podcast, shout out to the IR Presents. But he always says like, I was an A3 nigga. Like, yeah, I got A's. He's like, but I was also the nigga in the back of the class making the jokes and stuff. And it's like, my teacher was like, he's so smart, but he's always getting in trouble and talking so much.
Yeah, because we kind of taught, you know, we taught in the city that like brains is not valued. What's valued is, can you fight? Can you play sports? Are you a nigga? Like, can you you dumb yourself down a lot?
Yeah, he's even said like, yo, I used to be on tests like I would miss stuff on purpose because I ain't want to just look like too smart.
Yeah, I could see that. I did a lot of that, and so that's where the nigga side comes from, is because you have to cultivate that. But like realistically, like, man, I could go right now, go somewhere and sit in the arts museum and absorb art and be just in heaven. You know what I mean? I could not see nigga shit for the rest of my life. Like no gunfire, none of that shit, and be in an arts museum and be at home. So like music was one of the first outlets. Film was an outlet. You know, they took me places and allowed me to sit and look and be like, yeah, I'm really not on this nigga shit. I'm gonna do that for them. I'm gonna keep them entertained on this side, but I'm really finna listen to this and watch this and read this. They don't have to know about that. You know what I mean? And that's how you just create. I mean, it's almost like branding as a human. It's sad that we have to do that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the dual consciousness of the black man. You gotta kind of have two figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but
it
true.
is.
As far as what else from Steely Dan, I want to any other albums you want to highlight for folks to check out?
Oh man, it's I always forget the name of this album. It's a really good ass album. It's a thrill. I always add the wrong shit. It's not a thrill of money.
Can't Buy a Thrill.
Can't Buy a Thrill.
Okay, yeah, it says their first album, 1971.
Yeah, Can't Buy a Thrill has a lot of really good songs on there. Fire in the Hole, Do It Again, Dirty Work.
Dirty Work, yeah, the one you said about the dildo.
Yeah. It's people think that song, and I'm not sure if they wrong or right, but they think Dirty Work is basically a song about some inanimate object or a person basically saying, I'm not finna do your dirty work anymore. Like, I'm done. And people have like this long-standing theory that it's about a dildo being kind of overused by a single woman. So it's like, it's interesting. Fire in the Hole, Reeling in the Years. These are like legendary records to me. Cause like, even though I got on this album later, I actually listened to Asia first. Man, it's something about this album that just like captured me. There's also this song, number 5, Only a Fool Would Say That on Can't Buy a Thrill. Before you listen to that album, listen to that. Only a Fool Would Say That is like the most dreamy nigga on a beach. You know, like literally somebody saying, you know, you can't save the world, you can't blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, only a fool would say that. Like, it's such a beach outside summertime record, but it's still tongue in cheek. You never know when they being serious. And one of my favorite songs by them niggas is I still don't know what the song is about. It's Steely Dan, The Fez. And literally the instrumentation on The Fez is some of the best instrumentation in music history. I stand on that. Yeah. And the lyrics to it are just you're never gonna do it without the Fez on. And I don't know what that's about. I've heard some people have said that they're comparing a Fez, which is, listen, all my niggas.
Okay, the Royal Scam album, 1975.
All my niggas who are Muslim, I'm not saying this, but like a lot of people say that never gonna do it without the Fez on is literally them saying never gonna fuck without a condom on. I don't know. Steely Dan is just a sick group. They tongue in cheek and they don't give a shit about anything, but I would definitely say listen to the Fez and have your mind blown instrumentally. Okay. Have your mind blown. That's one of the, in terms of instrumentation, that's in my top 5. That's literally in my top 5.
Now I want to know what else is in your top 5.
I'm gonna take. There's a song called I gotta find the artist. I know the name of this song, but it's literally might be my favorite. It's by Al Stewart. It's called "The Year of the Cat." I think it is my number 1 favorite mixed song. It's my favorite instrumentation. It might be one of my favorite. It might be my favorite song. It's called "The Year of the Cat" by Al Stewart. It is a incredible song. The lyricism on that record is stupid, and it feels in the world of Steely Dan. When you hear it, the only difference is Al isn't tongue in cheek. Like everything he says is right there in front of you. You still might not necessarily get what he's saying, but it's very upfront. You just have to do your research on it. But it's a beautiful, like the instrumentation is fucking unbelievable. Like I can't believe that somebody made this record. That's how good it is. So that's one of them songs where when you put it on in your car, and it literally from the beginning, you'll hear the instrumentation that I'm talking about. And it's just recorded so clean. It sounds like Dr. Dre was around in the 1970s. Damn. Yeah, it's that fucking ridiculous. It's that ridiculous.
Oh, that actually makes you think of something. When you kind of realize that you just loved music, or like you were just ready to go deep dive into like research, and like I'm really gonna look into these albums and these artists.
I'm gonna say something crazy. I realize I love music in the same way. Like that question is almost like when did you find out you were straight? You know what I mean? Like it's like I loved it that long ago, because it's like I don't even remember falling for music. It just happened. Like I literally came out the womb ready to embrace music. That's why I really do feel like that's one of the things. Music, as like much as I question who is God? What does all this mean? What's the purpose of life? Blah, blah, blah. One thing that keeps me firm in my belief that it's definitely somebody who created the shit is music. Mm-hmm. Because music is like, it's everything. It's music. If your heartbeat gets off rhythm, it's a problem. Like you end up with a problem. They got words for this. Yeah. Atrial fibrillation or whatever the fuck they call it. AFib. Your heart gets off rhythm, you off rhythm, and you risking a lot. It's like breathing. Now the researching part, going deep into it, was when I was eligible to research. Basically, once I got old enough to know that there was more work to be done. So I would say probably 10. Like that's when I really started realizing it's further you can go in your love of music. In terms of not saying because I didn't have a computer, I didn't have any of that, but it started with asking my mom questions. Okay. It started with this Minnie Riperton lady. Like I initially took a really, really deep interest in Minnie Riperton. And when my mama told me that Minnie Riperton was dead, it really sent me down a rabbit hole, because how am I listening to her every morning and she not here no more? Oh yeah. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Wait, Marvin Gaye is dead? The crazy part is that sounds morbid, but what it told me as a kid is that music is so immortalized that you can die. You can not be here. It's still here. And I think that is what really sent me down the rabbit hole of investigating. Hey mama, what is she talking about? Hey mom, what does this mean? Is this? And some she could answer and some she couldn't. Yeah. But that was my first research. My mom was my first computer. And then it came to the point where
it's she don't know the answer.
I want to
find out.
I have to find out. So you just asking questions to different people. Once the computer becomes a thing, Oh, it's the beginning of my. That's the beginning of my interest in computers. That's the beginning of the interest. Is finding shit out. Wait a minute. It can tell me who sampled what, nigga. Like I lost my fucking mind going into forums and having conversations with other people who love music. Of course, a lot of it started in shouts out to the hip hop forums, all hip hop and hip hop game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say my love of music is intrinsic. That shit started in the womb. I couldn't even, that's literally, it does feel like that. Like, it's like, whenever I started liking girls is when I started liking music. Maybe before. And then I would say, like, in terms of researching, it all started, passenger seat, asking mom a slew of questions, annoying the fuck out of her about what this means,
That's dope. I love to hear that. That's dope. But yeah, we can go to the last one. Mos Def.
One of the most important ones.
Black on Both Sides.
Yes, sir.
Which I wanted to mention how even before then, with that album, for me, finding out about Mos Def and Black Star actually started with me with the Kanye West album.
Oh.
Yes, and then that got me to Black Star, which I love. I love that Black Star. I love.
That's insane. That could have easily been on her. That could have been an album that because Black Star. I mean, it's just it literally showed that other side of hip hop. Mm-hmm. A side of hip hop that at this point, when I get into Black on Both Sides, I had kind of lost touch with that. Because the first hip hop I'm introduced to is like Slick Rick, LL Cool J. There is a degree of undergroundness to it, in terms of, not saying LL was underground, but the vibe of it, the feel of it. Mama Said Knock You Out, even though it's a mainstream record, if you listen to it today, it feels like it's underground. Shouts out the Rick Rubins of the world to create a mainstream sound that sounds below ground. But when I saw these niggas, especially when I saw Mos, I didn't know that a nigga could be that pro-black, that underground, and still be that fucking cool. Like, cause underground comes with so there's a distinct thing. Like, I'm gonna give a visual. If anybody listening knows who Grand Poobah is. So, Grand Poobah was like the freshest nigga for a long time. People don't bring his name up, but like anybody who knows New York hip hop knows Grand Poobah is a fashionista. You can find pictures of Grand Poobah with leather African pendants on, right? Yep. And chains. That's unique. Because most niggas who chose the leather African pendant, they didn't choose chains. Choosing pro-blackness literally most of the time meant choosing to shy away from the shallow nature of the current black culture. So you'd see a nigga with a leather African pendant, African jacket on, and blah, blah, blah. You didn't think of them as fresh. You thought of the glitz and glamour, watches, truck jewelry, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane. You thought of that. Dudes like Grand Poobah, that's the first visual aid I get to wokeness and capitalism existing in one nigga. Because before that, it couldn't happen. Now, I'm getting Mos Def. Mos Def not wearing chains and shit, but he has this vibe like he gets girls. Like, he talks cool. He says the right thing. He got that kind of laid back thing about him, blah, blah, blah. He talks with little. He's a jazz man to me. It's a level of cool that doesn't require jewelry or any of that. Like, if you look at those jazz musicians, Coltrane, he don't need no jewelry on to be cool. He just exists as cool. And Mos Def represented that to me. So that piqued my interest. This nigga on Miss Fat Booty is, woke wasn't the word then, but niggas woke, understands how the world works, is Muslim, but at the same time, he got a freshness about him.
Yeah.
That shit blew my mind. So that's what drew me into even giving it a chance. Because before that, I'm just give me bumping shit. I drifted away from the shit that my mom put me on in terms of hip hop and went to just want to bump. It got a jam. Now he's bringing me back home. And Black on Both Sides changed my whole trajectory.
Which actually a quote I found from Pitchfork. He said, when was the last time you heard on an MC drop a line like mind over matter and soul before flesh? When was the last time you heard somebody rap about the global economic and environmental consequences of first world corporate waste and subsequent aquatic pollution? When was the last time you heard a hip hopper sing confidently over a fat ass beat about the white appropriation of black art forms, or end a song appropriately with a Bad Brains influenced rock out where both the drums and bass are played by the same guy.
Bruh. New World Water make the tide rise high. Come inland and make your house go by. Fools done upset the old man river. Made him carry slave ships and fed him dead niggas. When I heard that, I was gone. Because I wasn't 100% sure what it was about. But I knew that, like, I didn't understand corporate waste, and I didn't understand that.
When I heard it, I'm like, I don't know what this means, but it sounds
I don't know what it means, but when that nigga said, fools done upset the old man river, they made him carry slave ships and fed him dead niggas. Now his belly full and he about to flood something, so I throw a rope that ain't tied to nothing. New World Water, like literally, I don't know what's going on, but I know that visual is crazy. They done fed the ocean so many dead niggas that it's upset, and it's about the... Who paints that picture? I was nigga, that blew my mind. Like, when I turned that album on, the intro blows my... It never let up. He's rapping about getting robbed, and he's also to some degree victim blaming, because he's telling you, nigga, you can't do... I get it, bro. You should be able to wear your shit, but you can't do that over here. Don't get me, nigga. And in the background you hear, oh, please, like, nigga, please don't take my jewelry. How you making this fun?
Yeah.
This is not a fun song. And it's crazy that nigga was capable of just doing that. Like, nigga was different.
It's BA, Black IRS, aka Black Wall Street in the building.
This is E-Ray, the quasi-bad guy, the Diet Coke of evil, Peen Malenko, of course, the American cream, Brody Loads.
And I am your pod guy, your pod tribal chief, the boy A-Dub in the building. And this is Let Me Book the Territory, the greatest four-man wrestling podcast known to mankind.
Absolutely. And you can catch us now on Inaudible Ruckus Presents. And we'll be here every Friday, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're ready for it, to sweet me when you see me and let the madness run wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I forgot what we were talking about.
We had come on. We were talking about how Mos Def kind of covered all of these different subjects.
Oh yeah.
That were just scattered all around shit that I didn't know nothing about.
Yeah, because again, I got hip from the Kanye West College Dropout album, which led me to Black Star, which I remember just looking up their catalog, and I went with Talib Kweli first. So me personally, I'm more of a Talib Kweli over just because I went with him first.
That's the first nigga. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and then going to most of them was like, damn, was like, and then even doing my history was like, Black Star came before they solo projects, and it's like,
bro,
this is wild.
That's insane for them to do that, make a classic, and then go off on their own and make classics.
Yeah,
like that's unheard of. It was unheard of.
Because it's like, again, like deep, like hip hop, love, Miss Fat Booty, but then like you going deep, like Umi Says and New World Order and all this and the samples and like the fact that he only had it was 3 features: Talib, Q-Tip, and Busta. The only 3 rap features on the whole project. He's holding it down for him mainly by himself.
Yeah, and he's interesting all the way through. Because he's not one thing. That's one thing about Mos Def. Mos Def, when he's talking, he's engaging. Mos Def, when he sings, when you go Umi, when you go The Climb, he's singing. He also does something that Sade does. Instrumentation. Instrumental track is what ends the album. That December record is instrumental, and I remember writing some raps to that shit. Mathematics, Mr. Nigga, like it's full of joints. Like it's full of joints, and it's full of information. I think if you black and you listen to that, you learn a lot.
Yeah,
you learn a lot from that.
Yeah, because I hadn't heard the album in years, and I was catching stuff like, damn. Of course, my brain back then, like in high school, like I was too young to really understand. It was like, oh, now like me at 34, it's like, oh wow, this is way deeper than I could understand.
Look at what like Ja Morant is going through, or look at Ja Morant is going through, and then listen to Speed Law. Pump your brakes. You speeding money. You about to crash. Listen to that song. That's Ja Morant. What's going on with Jonathan Majors? Listen to Mr. Nigga. These records are he literally was schooling us to what this thing is gonna be and what it's like being black in America. And then just some of the fly shit that he says. Clear like a megaphone, pretty nigga, hearts get the metronome, rock the trunk towers in the terror dome. That just the way he goes, Olympic sponsor of the Black Glock, gold medalist in the back shot from the sovereign state of the have-nots. He puts words together in a way where, nigga, what? What does this mean? And when you understand it, each song becomes more and more important.
Yep. Exactly. That's how I felt. I was like, damn. It's like I was just really for the most part just vibing when I heard it in high school.
Yeah.
I was like, but now at 34, and I'm like, oh,
he talking some real shit. He talking some shit.
I was like, yeah. Again, this is gonna be another album where I'm gonna be really more evaluating what I was hearing.
Same nigga throwing dirt on Michael's name. Same nigga showing Woody Allen and Soon Yi at the playoff game. This is shit we see today. Like, we see it today. And that nigga was so ahead of his time.
Then I also just basically want to do a little background for folks. Again, it was released October 12th, 1999. It was his debut solo album after the Black Star album that came out in 1998. We mentioned Talib Kweli, Q-Tip, Busta, the only rap features. The singles were Miss Fat Booty and Umi Says. Found out that Umi Says there was 2 different videos. I didn't know that because I don't remember the Michael Jordan and the NBA version. Which
you got the one with him in the studio.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. Which I was reading about how him making multiple versions of like the Umi Says there was like 2 or 3 other tracks that he made like multiple versions of like the songs, like the final versions that came out. I was like, oh, okay, didn't know that. Then also I didn't know that he helped co-produce pretty much most of the album, which just to produce a list was like DJ Premier, Diamond D, 88 Keys, the Beat Nuts, and of course like Ali Shaheed.
Dream team shit. Cause that album is so cohesive. It's so cohesive from back to front. And how do you make an album that has this much different shit on it in terms of singing, rapping, different tempos, but it all sounds like it fits? It's fucking amazing.
And then I was reading some of the articles, and people were talking about like they pretty much all at the same time was like, yeah, this is a classic.
Yeah, it's actually my favorite hip hop album of all times.
Oh wow,
of all times, it's literally that and then Reasonable Doubt.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's dope. I might have to do the Reasonable Doubt with both you and J.O. because I know because
we both can go down that one.
Yeah, because I remember when he sent me like his list of albums, Reasonable Doubt was the third one.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
we definitely got to do that because I love Reasonable Doubt. I can go back and forth on that album.
Yeah, because I was already a Jay-Z fan before college, but I didn't listen to Reasonable Doubt until I think was it senior year? I think it was like senior year of college, just chilling with the homies and just talking about Jay-Z, and they're like, you never heard Reasonable Doubt? I'm like, no. I was like, I can't remember. What was it? Probably like Blueprint or something. It was like the first one I heard. And,
that's a good one to come in.
They're like, but nigga, you got to go back to Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable Doubt just feels so different.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. When that shit comes on, you're like, the fuck is this? Yeah, that shit's crazy.
Yeah, we might have to do a Reasonable Doubt episode.
I'm with
all
it.
3 of us. Yeah,
I'm so with that.
Yeah. What else was I gonna say? Any other like standout stuff you want to mention about the album?
Let's see. Let's go to Black on Both Sides. This is definitely one of those joints that this shit is, just an incredible album. I can definitely tell you Speed Law is one of my favorite hip hop songs ever. It's a standout on this album for me. I love Speed Law. Of course, Umi Says, because Umi Says was the first record that I heard of its kind. I didn't know that sound didn't sound like shit else. It had this very like African feel to it, and I had never heard anything like it. Like it was almost tribal. You know what I mean? And that drew me to it because it was like, bro, what the fuck? How do I describe this? My Umi says, shine your light on the world.
Yeah.
And if I opened the school, my Umi Says would be what we would sing. You know what I mean? Like that would be the school song. That's how fucking important that record is. There's a record that's obscure by him that's on this album that I think is phenomenal. If you close your eyes and listen to Climb. Climb is it's as deep as Umi Says. Umi Says just has more commercial appeal.
Yeah.
But Climb is just like one of them records where you literally like, nigga, what? I still don't know what the fuck it's about either. Because at a certain point I don't care. I just want the feel of it, the vibe of it. Like I said, I already said Speed Law. Fear Not of Man is the intro to the album. And one of the things that I recognize about that mud is it's very poignant. Mm-hmm. The shit that he talking about on there, like even him saying, hip hop goes where the people go. Mm-hmm. You see that. It's a lot of smoking on dead niggas and all this type of stuff. And we wonder, like, where did this come from? It's the people. The people reshape where hip hop goes. I think he was right about that. I also love I Stop to Think, and then I sink into the paper as if I was ink when I'm this and I'm trapped in between the lines. Love, love. That was like that shit. When I first heard that, I was like, I was sold from beginning to end on this album. Yeah. And the biggest part of it is because I never heard anything. This shit is it's the blackest album I ever heard without trying. It's the thing that we talk a lot about Kendrick Lamar. I'm kind of known as like the resident Kendrick Lamar hater. Yeah. One of the things about Kendrick is the music. When it feels black, it feels like it was created to be black. Mm-hmm. Like To Pimp a Butterfly feels like it was created to be this message to black people. Most Def Black on Both Sides seems like it was created just to be a reflection of Most Def, and Most Def happens to be a black man. You know, like it's a difference. It's like when you watch something, you see a gay character that's put in the show to be gay, mm-hmm. versus a character who's in the show who happens to be gay. Yeah. To me, Black on Both Sides is an album that just happens to be black. And I get it, black is in the title and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like from beginning to end, even though this is a black album, I feel like this is an album that if you handed this to a white college kid, he would understand it. If he has a certain level of understanding, he would get it and go, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. He talking some shit. I feel where he coming from. It's just a universal album that happens to be for black folks.
I like that. That's dope. One of the new questions I thought about, I wanted to start asking people on these episodes to basically end it out and wrap it up is, can you name 3 to 5 things about who is Cass?
3 to 5 things who is Cass. Ooh. First, I'm gonna use a term that sounds like silly because people don't even know what it means most of the time, even though it's a real job. I consider myself a creative director of the streets. I feel like, and when I say the streets, I'm not talking about nigga shit. I'm talking about just the people who are not in the know. And the reason I say I'm a creative director is because I'm one of those people that people call for an opinion on a thing. It may not even be, they might call me just to say, man, what do you think about this? Mm-hmm. That's a creative director's job, is to figure out where the thing is going next. Is this optimal for it? Is this what, like, when Pharrell goes to Louis Vuitton, he's not going to literally sew anything. He can't sew. He's not, like all he going to do is say, this is where I think we going. Can you execute this? That's what most of the time, what I'm trying to get people to see is where we're going. When I talk about politics on the show, when I talk about Second Amendment rights on our show, when I talk about the music that I listen to, secretly, I'm trying to plant a seed. Even, when I play French music, I know nobody gives a fuck about it. I know that the average listener does not give a fuck about these French records. The reason I keep playing them in there, though, is because there are 2 or 3 who will. And once they go into that, once you start listening to a nigga you don't understand, you'll start listening to people you don't understand in life. And you'll start learning shit. You'll learn about other cultures. You might eat differently. You might stop just eating chicken nuggets. So that's one. I feel like in my soul, I'm a creative director. The second thing is, I take pride in being eclectic. It's something that I do on purpose. I don't just find shit, though, that's obscure to say that I did, but I do go out of my way to try to find cool shit that people might have missed and put them on it. because I get joy in putting people on shit that they might have not been on.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing iller than a person being like, hey, I'm taking my girl on a date. What restaurant should I go to? Like, to me, that's ill. Because that literally means you entrusted me with your night. Because I picked the wrong restaurant for you. You fucked. You know, like, so I love that aspect. 3, I'm a creative. I'm an artist. And matter of fact, I'm gonna take that back. I'm an art enthusiast, because even though I create art, I'm an art enthusiast. That's what helps me create. I'm one of them niggas that likes. I love painting. I love film. I love literature. I love music. And the more I find out about them, the more I can I understand. Like, the more I learn about painting, the more I learn about cinematography. The more I learn about music, the more I gain an interest in film. Because I'm one of them people, when I'm trying to write a film or write a story, I have to play certain music to put me there, put me in that place. I'm thinking about what my main character is listening to on the radio. 4th is I consider food and art. Like, I'm one of them niggas who I'm always the same way I collect music, the same way I collect art knowledge, the same way is I love food. Like, food is that. I feel like food is just like the French records. If I can get you to try something outside of a chicken nugget, I can expand your mind. Now you're more open to listen to the French record. It works vice versa. If I get you to listen to the French record, I can get you off the chicken nuggets. If I can get you off the chicken nuggets, I can get you on the French record. I just have to push your boundaries as a person. That's why sometimes I've been around niggas, and the first time we go to a restaurant, I pay for it. Because now you're not in control.
Oh, yeah.
I have to. You ain't gonna tell me, nigga, I don't eat. No, I'm paying for it, brother. You gonna get this like this. And that way, if it's a fail, you don't feel like you got cheated.
Yep, because you like, come on, I know you want it. It sounds good, but you probably looking at that price like,
I ain't gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this. And that's something else I want to push to black people too, is enjoy yourself. Like, every now and then, eat like a king. Every now and then, read something that you don't think you're capable of reading. That ain't gotta be Moby Dick. You know, like, you ain't gotta go 1,000-page book. It's not about the length. Just read something outside of your sphere. Watch a show outside of your sphere. Go look at something about design. Go on YouTube and go to Architectural Digest. Just try it. Step outside your vein, because that's also food. You know, anything you consume is food. And the fifth thing that I want niggas to know about me. What is Kaz? I gotta throw something like goofy in there, but it's true. Is I love chicks. And the reason why I'm throwing that in there, I know that's crazy. Like, I got a girl too. So me saying this, but she knows this because I've actually given this explanation before. Is when I say I love chicks, I don't mean like, you know, we tell jokes. We always gonna be like, yeah, knock it down. But the reality is, I'm inspired by beautiful chicks. So like, a big part of my art too is like, if you go on my Instagram, what's so crazy, I'll be sharing chicks just because of their faces. We're not even talking about like the sexual aspect of it. We're talking about just the way their faces are shaped, just the eyes, just the intensity of the face. You know, Monica Bellucci, Naomi Campbell, just interesting faces.
Yeah.
To me, that I call it, I don't even know if it's a word, but I call it human architecture. You know, like when you look at a beautiful woman, you don't feel inspired.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I feel inspired to write some shit. I feel inspired to. That's what
a muse.
Yeah, it's a muse. Yeah. And most men have had muses. Most great men have had some muse in their life. It's the reason why you don't want a single president. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody really wants to vote for a president with no woman. What the fuck is he? What is he doing this for? You know, like, it's so like, I'm very into the architecture of women. Because to me, it's one of God's illest designs. If not the illest design. And this is not me sucking up the chicks, because if you listen to our show, you know I be roasting their ass too. But it's true though. It's literally, it's the fifth thing that makes me up. Because the things that I named are the things that I live for. And if I became a fucking millionaire, billionaire, whatever, I would literally, during creation, I need chicks there. I need women to like it. I need women to be there, because I need to see them while I create. Because once I create, when I look over there and I see a chick with a fucking Monica Bellucci face, I'm going to write my ass off. And that to me is something, that's also something we culturally missing too. Like, how many records are for the chicks now? In terms of men making them. Chicks are making chick records. The niggas gotta make them hoes. Yeah. Diddy can't do it alone. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta get back to making stuff that includes women in it from a man perspective. Because, nigga, we're drawn to women. Nigga, you will buy a car based on a commercial, based on how hot the woman looks. Yep. If a beautiful woman tells you, you smell good today, you gonna go buy a gallon of that cologne. Yep.
I've definitely done that before.
Dude, so that's my fifth thing. It's the most important. We come from them. We die behind them sometimes. I don't suggest y'all do that. But it's the importance of women to that. That's like my holy trinity of things that drive me. You know, it's the food, it's designing things, the design of things, and shit. Pretty girls. That's the thing.
That's dope. Oh, which I actually randomly thought, I don't know if I've even told you about this, but thank you for putting me on to two of my, say, 4 favorite artists here in Dallas.
Oh, shit. Who?
One, Aradon, which, quick story, so you put me on the Aradon and then Megazar, so then, Star hooked up the Megazar interview with me last year because he was like, bro, you need to listen to this album. If you love the album, I can help get him on the podcast. So the funny quick thing was, I've always heard, y'all gonna laugh about this, is, I've always heard people say like tunk. So because I heard you call him by Aradon, so when Megazar talking about, he's like, yeah, my guy talking, he's like, I mean Aradon. I was like, oh, Aradon is tunk. I've heard people say tunk in like different circles and different people so many times, but I'm like, oh, I didn't know it was the same guy. But you talking about Aradon's album, the Bro and Them project, and then me listening to it, and I'm like, this nigga is
I told you,
nice.
I tell you, that nigga's crazy.
And then me listening to the Megazar, I'm like, oh, because I told Megazar his album was like my favorite, like just rap album of the year. I was like, not even just Dallas. I was like, your album was literally just like my favorite rap album.
He put his heart into that motherfucker.
Yeah.
You could literally hit, and a nigga who I'm always around him, and I know Aradon. What I love about those niggas in the creation of their shit is them. Like when you meet them, they live up to what they put on the record. They don't get into character. There is no Sasha Fierce for these niggas. This is who they are. So it's certain records I listen to on that Czar shit, and I'm like, damn, I remember this. I was there for this. Like it's ill.
Mm-hmm. And like I remember doing the interview, he was talking about like how just sending his music to you, and he was like, I know like Kaz gonna keep it like real all the way 100. He was like, I'll send certain songs that I know will be his, like the ones that he'll like, but I'll like ask him just to see if he gonna point out that one song, like you say that one version. I'm like, I knew he was gonna say that.
Yep.
So I was like, I definitely wanted to say, thanks for putting me on to them.
Man, appreciate it. That's dope.
I was like, those are my guys. Great music. Like,
definitely.
I can't wait to hear like what else Aradon do, because
I know I'm ready.
Like, this nigga never stops working.
Dog, he's got Tupac work ethic.
Right. It's like, hold on, didn't you just drop a project like 2 months ago?
Nigga, when do you sleep?
It was like them, like him and Star, my friend. I'm like, Star, you shot 12 videos?
Dog. Star is a nigga, man. He's a mission. He's a very objective based nigga. If he says he gonna shoot 12 videos, like you can't even question it.
Yeah.
Cause he's gonna go shoot 12 videos. He's like that. Literally, whatever he tells you, he's going to execute.
Mm-hmm. Like I was talking to someone the other day, and she was like, yes, like I'm talking to JD about helping with like an idea for a show, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's like dope. I love him. I was like, cause he gonna be brutally honest, but he just gonna tell you straight up,
with a straight face,
and it's like, yeah. And then he might make a joke about
he will.
I was like, but that's what I love about it, because he like, no, I'm just gonna keep it real.
Yeah, no, you ain't gotta worry about him lying to you, because he's not.
Yeah. Like, cause I was telling him how I was like, I want to work on like a music Impulse album. I was like, yeah, I want you to be like my executive producer, because I know you're gonna be like, nah, this shit is trash.
Yeah,
like,
he definitely will.
Like,
he will.
Start like, don't put this on the project, like, or Had that nigga redo the verse.
Nah, I ain't fucking with it.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I definitely want to tell you about that with Aerodon and Megazar for sure.
That's dope. That's dope. I'm glad because those are dudes that I really be wanting people to hear. Mm-hmm. They got shit. They got something for everybody.
Mm-hmm. But anything else you want to let the folks know, like social medias or whatever?
If you want to catch me on Instagram, I am smashing in a bunk bed. It's smashing in a bunk bed. And I'm definitely, you gonna get a little bit of everything you heard here. You're gonna get some music, you're gonna get some art, some food, and beautiful women on the page. You can also get me on Facebook, Ja'Cory King, my governor.
Whenever you're not getting...
King. Yeah, when I'm not, I actually have not been banned this year.
What?
Craziness.
I'm so used to it. It's like
dog, nigga. Me too. It's like, I guess with age, I'm calming down. So like, you can follow me at Corey King on Facebook. And Don't Take It Personal is our podcast. So you definitely, DTIP, check that out. We are Patreon official. We are worth the bread because we gonna give you a shitload of content. Niggas be recording hours upon hours of content a week, and it's what's so crazy about it is through fatigue, through jobs, through whatever, it's content that we can stand on. Because every time we leave her, we know when we trash, and we know when we fire. Like, we've come to that point. Once you do over 100 episodes, you leave an episode knowing hot garbage or greatness. You can tell the difference. Thank God we don't have hot garbage. But, you can definitely feel when it's special. And we've been on a special run fucking forever. So, check that out. It's definitely worth the pay. And plus, you be supporting, two young black men.
Yes.
If just in case you Pan-African. Two black brothers. But yeah, that's it. Don't Take It Personal podcast, DTIP, all that good shit. And I'm one half. My other half is Jay Will. He had your first show. Yeah. So you officially have had DTIP on her, and we'll definitely be back doing some other shit up here too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, appreciate you again, my guy.
Man, appreciate the invite.
Yes, anytime. And then it's been Music Impulse. It's been the soundtrack to life with Cass.
Hey.
And we out.